Yo, what's up, guys? Let me make sure that I got everything up and running. It looks like we're good. Chat is up. Phone lines are up. Let's do this thing. All right. It's the Friday wrap up. And I did a video yesterday on my channel, just giving some additional thoughts about I don't know, the trilogy between Fury and Wilder, Wilder's mental state, when exactly he broke mentally, because it's pretty clear that he did. Obviously, there's some mental and emotional fragility there. And let me share my screen real quick. There we go. There's that handsome guy. God, look at my expression there. I look like a moron. But look, I think a lot of you agreed with my assessment on that video yesterday, but one person who didn't, I got to call out here, Tim Nick on the comment section. Tim is a fan of Deontay Wilder. Boy, is he a fan of Deontay Wilder. He comments on pretty much every video I do. I can make a video about paint drying on a wall, and Tim would comment about Deontay Wilder. So, Tim, I had to have a little fun with you, because you were the guy who called for violence against me in a video recently on the comment section. And you're so adamant about Deontay Wilder and so passionate about him that you had to get on the chat. So let's just count the comments. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7. And then it doesn't include, of course, all the replies, which some of your comments, obviously all of them have replies, because people can kind of see how crazy you are. If you count all the replies, it's well over a dozen comments on this video, dude. All right, Tim, just for you, my friend, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to give Deontay Wilder some props. First of all, I'm going to say, showed a ton of heart, obviously, showed a ton of toughness in that fight with Fury, and really the second fight as well. And let me just say this about Deontay Wilder, okay? Despite all of the character flaws and flaws as a fighter and everything else, for a guy who came to boxing late, which he did, this is just for you, Tim Nick, you can make an argument that of all these fighters, particularly heavyweights, that have come to boxing late from other sports, be they basketball or football, those are generally the two most popular sports they come from, but there's been other sports. You can make an argument Deontay Wilder is the most accomplished of all of those fighters that have come to boxing late from other sports. He's definitely in the conversation. So there you go, Tim. That's just for you, my friend. Have at it in the comments section with that one. Also, I wanted to put on the record, there's been a lot of analyzing of the fight Saturday, and there's obviously a ton of exaggeration in the media, and people just completely overblowing how good this fight was. It was a good fight. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of drama, a lot of tension and drama. A big part of that was the personalities. And then also they're heavyweights, so the stakes are raised, right? And it was here in the United States, so the American media pumps it up. It was in Vegas, so the media pumps it up. It had a lot of different elements, right? And the guys delivered, both of them in their own way. Fury delivered with the win, and Wilder delivered by going out on his shield, which is what he wanted to do. If he was going to lose, he wanted to go out swinging, and that's what happened. So the guys delivered, and they delivered an action-packed fight. Now, I've been all week on Twitter and here on my channel, on Ring's channel, Monday on TNC. I just kind of had to go in against some of the people, though, that are saying this is the greatest heavyweight fight of all time. This is the best fight they've ever seen. I think that these people are they have extremely short memories, but that's sports fans, right? Sports fans have extremely short memories. And in boxing, there's the diehard fan base, and then there's what I call the civilians, which is casual fans. I don't want to use the casual fan thing anymore. I think I'm just going to start calling them civilians. Nothing wrong with civilians. But the civilians a lot of times get involved when there's stars fighting or heavyweights fighting, or there's a big pay-per-view. And the date of this pay-per-view, sneaky genius by everybody involved picking this date, because October 9 got in just before the Major League Baseball playoffs started, right? And in these playoffs, you have big market teams. You have the Los Angeles Dodgers are in it. Recent champions, Boston Red Sox, Houston Astros, cheaters, they're in. So there's big market teams and popular teams in the playoffs right now. That'd be tough to compete with. And the first LA Atlanta games tomorrow night, Saturday night, right? So great date. October 9th really worked because it got in before all that. And you were really going up only against college football. So the date worked where a lot of the civilians were like, oh, what's going on tonight? Oh, there's a fight. Oh, a heavyweight. Oh, that crazy guy from the UK, that gypsy dude. And that one dude who said his suit was too heavy. Oh, these guys hate each other. Let me buy that shit. Okay. Or let me stream that shit illegally. That's really what happened. So people tuned in. And I say that because all week long, I have noticed civilians talking about this fight. People who don't normally talk about boxing, people who don't know a damn thing about boxing. In fact, my neighbor, who is a woman in her 60s, talked about it. Now, I don't know if she watched it, but she heard about it, right? So just the fact that she heard about it, the only other time I've ever heard her mention boxing, sadly enough, was when she knew about Jake Paul fighting, because that fight was here in Atlanta, and he went to a high-end mall or something where she works. She's a high-end like sales rep. So she knew who he was. She didn't watch the fight, obviously, but she knew about this fight, right? And I've heard people like that talking throughout the week, people at the supermarket. So it broke through in that regard. It didn't break through in pay-per-view buys. It did 600,000 here in the United States. And I hear people saying, well, that's a success. That's a big success. No, it's not. When you're paying these guys the guarantees that they're getting. It wasn't a very profitable show. But in terms of, because the fight was so good, action-wise, especially for the untrained eye, the civilian eye, a lot of people are talking about it. And that's good for boxing. It really, really is. And a lot of people saw the bully getting his comeuppance and everything, and that always kind of breaks through to the civilians. So there's just a lot of narratives here that punch through. And I want to give... Oh, I mixed up my damn sound effects again. Holy shit. I want to give a round of applause. There it is. I want to give a round of applause, seriously, to Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Top Rank, Premier Boxing Champions, Bob Arum, Frank Warren, Al Heyman, Sam Watson, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, everybody involved in this promotion. They really did a good job. Not necessarily promoting this fight, but they did a good job putting on a really good show. This was a good undercard. I even heard people, civilians, talking about this fight who ordered the pay-per-view. I know a few who did. And they actually were like, dude, that undercard was great. It was all heavyweights. That's what a few of them said, right? I know this one Canadian guy. He watches UFC, but it's like a huge hockey guy. He's from Canada, you know. He knows about boxing. But he was saying stuff like, man, this was like the 70s. This was like the Ali, Frazier, Foreman era. This was like a throwback. Boxing's back. He said that several times. And he was like, the undercard, man, all those heavyweights. Like he loved it. And you got to think that's what the civilians like. That's really, really what they like. So good job, really good job to everybody involved putting on a show that I think exceeded expectations. I got to say, it in the end, top to bottom, this card exceeded expectations. And in large part because the undercard did feature heavyweights, and that does break through to the casual observer, the civilians. And the main event delivered high drama. Now, is that a fight 10, 20, 30 years from now that people are going to be watching on YouTube and stuff? I don't think so, because when I compare Fury, really all three fights, honestly, all three of these fights in this trilogy, when I compare them to Pacquiao's trilogy with Morales, which became a very one-sided trilogy, those fights were more exciting to me. There was just better boxing all around, and Morales actually won one of the fights. So there was no controversy with the scorecards or anything like that. Pacquiao's fights with Marquez, obviously. And then Israel Vasquez, his fights with Marquez. I could go on and on with some of the greatest trilogies we've seen. Of course, Gotti Ward, but then one-off fights like Castillo Corrales, right? Which ended up being two fights. That first fight between Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo, that was so much better. I can watch that fight 1,000 times. I can watch the first fight between Gotti and Ward 1,000 times, and I'm on the edge of my seat every single time. This fight just isn't on that stratosphere, right? Even fights like, I gotta say, Chocolatito Estrada and I want to say, who am I forgetting, man? It wasn't Burchelt. There was a Mexican fighter involved with 2 fights of the year recently that I was ringside for both of them. They were great. Orlando Salido had some outstanding fights, right? I was ringside for those that were outstanding. Chocolatito's been involved in a couple of great ones. I think Golovkin and Canelo, both of those fights were much better, just much better fights than these fights between Fury and Wilder. So I just want to keep things in perspective. And that's why I've been kind of going in on Twitter and social media this week, just having fun with some of these people. And you guys have seen my tweets where I'll screenshot some of these dudes' tweets saying this was the best fight of all time. Tyson Fury's pound for pound #1 right now. Just ridiculous statements like that, and having fun with it, just saying my brain hurts. Like, seriously, my brain hurts. At the same time, though, once again, I have to give applause to both fighters, their camps, their management, all the network people. They put on a hell of a show, and this thing delivered. Now, where do we go from here? Because boxing has some momentum again, right? If you go back to last February, before the pandemic really, really hit, right, and all the lockdowns hit, and Fury destroyed Wilder, there was real momentum right there because it was such a dominant performance, and people just didn't see that coming. And suddenly Tyson Fury was everywhere, right? He was a star. And we lost that momentum. Now, some of it was due to the pandemic, obviously, but there were other factors, right? I mean, guys, it's October. These two didn't fight again until just now. So we're 10 months into the year. It took forever to see Alexander Usyk back in the ring, Anthony Joshua back in the ring. So the heavyweight division's been on hold all year. So boxing, the business of it, really, really fucked up a good thing after Fury Wilder 2. I hope that doesn't happen again here. We know that Dillian Whyte and Otto Wallin are supposed to fight. And Tyson Fury technically is supposed to fight the winner of that fight next. We know that there is a contractually mandated rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. They're supposed to fight next. Okay. Business of boxing, what can you do? Would I rather see Fury and Usyk fight each other next? Of course. Of course, that's what I'd rather see. But business of boxing, okay, we know those are the fights that have to come next. Let's get that shit done soon. I don't want to wait till June to see Usyk and Joshua again. I don't want to wait till June or July to see Fury fight Dillian Whyte, or maybe it's Otto Wallin, whichever one. I don't want to wait till then. I don't want to wait until next November or December to see the winners of those 2 fights face each other. There is no reason why we can't see Usyk and Joshua and Fury versus the Whyte Wallin winner early next year. I'm talking March, April at the latest, somewhere in there. And then in the summer at some point, midsummer, late summer, that's when we can have the 2 fight each other. And there's going to be a rematch clause and all that. So they're going to fight 2 or 3 times, which is fine, right? But we got to capitalize on this momentum, man. The reason that it only did 600,000 pay-per-view buys wasn't because these guys lacked star power. It wasn't because this fight lacked people didn't want the fight, diehard boxing fans, but civilians, again, it's heavyweights. One of them's American. They don't like each other. There's a demographic beef there, right? Mostly started by Deontay Wilder and his fans, but there's all kinds of stuff that panders to the lowest common denominator that's going to pluck at people's heartstrings and get them to watch this fight. But people didn't want to pay for it. Part of it's because it's $80, and that's just ridiculous. But also, boxing, civilians, casual observers of the sport that might watch boxing once or twice a year, okay? I'm not talking about diehards. I'm talking about people that tune in once every few years, maybe once, twice a year. They have been so used to inconsistent fight cards, to every now and then getting sucked in and buying a pay-per-view, right? And feeling like they got ripped off. They don't know which ones to buy because they don't have the nuanced educated viewpoints that a more regular viewer of boxing has. Someone who watches or pays attention to boxing, they know which fights are the good fights. They know who to watch and which fights to pay attention for, whether it's a big fight or a small fight. But people outside of that bubble, and it's a small bubble, particularly here in America, people outside of that bubble, they don't know. And they knew what happened the last time these two fought. It was an extremely one-sided fight. I get that there was a contract mandated rematch, okay, for the third fight. I understand that. But outside of that, think of the perspective of somebody who doesn't know that, okay, just occasionally watches boxing. They saw a 7-round beatdown last February, and they're going, why the hell should I watch this again? It's going to be another beatdown, right? They eventually, a lot of them tuned in, but a lot of them didn't want to pay for it. They're like, oh, I'll check it out, but I'm going to catch a stream. I'll check it out, but I'll watch the replay on YouTube, right? That's what happened. I know a lot of people that watched this fight and didn't watch it Saturday night. They watched it Sunday morning on YouTube. There was tons of YouTube videos. They eventually got taken down, but they were all there Sunday morning. So I know a lot of casual observers that tuned in the following morning on YouTube and other sites like that. So if boxing could more consistently put out product like this, I think they could do a million buy pay-per-view again. But the million buy pay-per-view, okay, that is a thing of the past in regards to Floyd Mayweather fighting Robert Guerrero or Victor Ortiz, Manny Pacquiao fighting Chris Algieri. I know that wasn't a million buy pay-per-view, but I'm just naming, okay, the one-sided mismatches that those two fought in, particularly Floyd, for years, charging people $80 while circling around each other, right? And then finally fighting at the end to cash out. That is the last bait and switch like that you're going to see. You'll see smaller versions of it. Gervonta Davis is going to do that, right? And other guys are going to do that. They're already building that up over on that side. And he's not the only one. That's not the only team doing it, but you can see what they're going to do over there. But it's going to be a miniature version of what Floyd did, right? And even what Manny did to a certain extent. But I give Manny a pass because he fought on past all that and entertained the hell out of us up until this year. And then he fought so many killers for so long. So Manny gets a pass in my book. But I don't deny that a lot of his pay-per-views were complete mismatches, A side, B side, and you knew who was going to win. Same thing with Floyd. The years of those types of pay-per-views, even doing 500,000 buys, it's over, guys. It's over. So boxing, the industry, has to get it together and has to figure out a way to capitalize on this momentum that we have right now. So, all right, let me jump to the phones real quick. And I'm not going to go long today, guys. We're going to do like a half-hour show, and that'll be that. But I want to get some thoughts here. So let's jump to the phones. And 559, you're on the show. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Once again, it's me, Miguel, and Sarah.
Oh, what's up, Miguel? What's up, Sarah? How you guys doing?
Oh, yeah, just good. Just right here in California, the smoke is fine and clear. But, I just wanted to give my thoughts on the fight. And it's funny that you said that people were streaming it for free. I actually watched it on Facebook because people were streaming it all over the place.
Yeah.
And my first thoughts on this is, I mean, obviously the ending when he refused to give respect, that's going to be a topic I'm going to talk about soon. But my thing is this, like, for all those, okay, Deontay Wilder, he's a one-trick pony. We all know that. So the big wonder to me was, and a lot of other, fans and boxers alike was, what's he going to demonstrate? What are the new tools that this guy Malik Scott brings? And you're right, he does have a good boxing mind. But I mean, no offense, dude. Like I to him and everyone around him. But what did they do? What was so great throughout the whole year and a half of doing weird ass wannabe Muhammad Ali videos and all this other shit? What did it do? Was a long step jab to the body with no follow up. That's it. And then once he got punched, like you said, once he got punched, it went back to the same crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Swiveling his upper body with his elbow sticking out, just trying to get you with the right hand, dude. And it was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Now, to his credit, I do give him credit for going back to the 1-2, the 1-2 that's dropped so many people that he actually does do pretty correct. I personally think that's when he broke his hand, dude.
Yeah, I broke a knuckle, I think.
Like when he cracked Fury. Yeah, he broke a knuckle. But like I was saying, you know, at the beginning of the fight was good, but it wasn't like, okay, you didn't teach this guy how to 1, 2, 3 on the inside. You didn't teach him how to shove him off you when he's pushing. I mean, it was so obvious. I was like, why is he letting him lean on him? What's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I was telling my wife, I was like, because I was going for Wilder, to be honest, by knockout. I was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, man, this guy, I know he's gonna get it together, hopefully, and at least drop this guy, maybe knock him out, or Fury's gonna outbox him. Nobody predicted the outcome, you know, like that. Two guys just dropping each other back and forth. But you know, it just really disappoints me, dude, because it shows no type of mental growth or maturity. Absolutely none whatsoever. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you talked all this crap, and you're right. Like, it took me a while to see this thing, but like you said, the first time that he got his mind and heart broken was probably in the first fight. But I think it was in the second fight, the build-up to it. I don't know if you remember when they did the face-off on BT Sport or something like that, BT Boxing. And it was like a different Wilder. I had never seen it. I mean, he always talked shit, you know, this and that. But that's when he went after Fury's religion. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And Fury snapped, dude. He stopped playing the role right away, and he told him in his face, like, you know what? I used to like you. I used to like who you are and this and that, but I don't like you no more for what you just said, because it shows who you are. He's, I'm gonna put you down and I'm gonna teach you a lesson, and and don't you forget that. And I will never forget that, man. And that's exactly what he did the second time, and then the third time.
Yeah.
My big question is this: what happens to Wilder now, dude? I don't think he has it in him, to be honest. I don't know. But I don't know. I just wanted to give him my thoughts to this fight. Fury did a great job. He is an arm puncher. He is a snapper, but he did set up those power punches the right way. Stepping into it right, twisting his hips and everything, especially the right hand that caught him at the end. Right when he caught him, it was over. I told my wife, that's it. And sure enough, that was it. You know, so he did an excellent job on wearing him down, especially him being a power puncher. And, you know, credit to him for taking such a tremendous shot. They're already showing in slow motion the punch to the forehead that Fury took. The shockwave went through his whole body.
Oh, yeah, I saw that shit.
Like,
yeah. You saw the fat roll
like,
move down. Yeah. I will give Wilder God, the one thing Wilder did on that. I'm sure you saw me, because he like did a pullback one too, because he saw Fury coming straight in, so he got the left hand out. It pulled back. It was a nice one too by Wilder. It really was, and Fury fucked up, but Wilder made him pay for it, that shows some craft. That was a nice 1-2 from Wilder backing up.
Yeah, that was actually pretty. I was telling my girl, I was like, damn, we'll see right now. And then he put him down again with a rabbit punch. I was like, oh shit, he's hurt. But I think he probably did that on purpose. And sure enough, being the Gypsy King, he probably took a knee on purpose just to get some more air. You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah, because it wasn't really a punch that landed there.
Yeah.
Well, Miguel, I gotta drop you short, man. I gotta cut you short, brother, because I got a couple other calls.
Hey, God bless you and Tiff. Yeah, God bless you and Tiff. And peace out, Mike. Thank you for telling the truth, man.
All right, brother. Have a good weekend, you guys.
God bless. Peace out.
Peace. My man CJ in the chat with the super chat. Thank you, CJ. He says he'll call on Monday. And he says, smash that like button. That's right. All of you just need to smash that like button. He says, I know you're going to the NLCS, right? Yeah, yo. So the Dodgers won last night. Quick baseball tangent. Real quick. Dodgers won last night, and the Braves won their series. I want to say the Braves swept their series. So these two, I think, played last year in the playoffs. Might have been the year before. It's all blurring together. But they're playing a series. And the first two games are tomorrow and Sunday here in Atlanta. So what me and Tiff did is we're going to park down by the stadium, and they got like a little village right outside the stadium of like bars and restaurants and like all these jumbo screens, and they call it the Battery. We're just going to go hang out at the Battery. We ain't even going to go into the game. We're just going to go out there, chill, and we got lawn chairs, and we're just going to hang out there and watch the game because the weather right now is beautiful out here. So we're looking forward to that. All right, a couple more quick calls, guys, and then we're going to cut this because I got dinner plans at 6. All right, 661, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, Montero, it's Sean Yeager from Spokane. I'll keep this real quick.
Sure.
First, I just want to say congratulations. It's been a pleasure watching you progress in life.
Thank you.
Your career. Been listening to you for like 5 years.
Oh, cool, man. Thank you.
So, last week, you brought up something that I thought was super interesting about how Tyson Fury and some of these other European fighters have developed more of like an American style with like leaning on guys and inside game.
Yes.
And the epitome of that, I thought recently, what made me think a person I thought who utilizes that well is Josh Taylor, especially as Jose Ramirez.
Yep.
And you think, wow, you know, a European goes over, fights a Mexican fighter or American Mexican fighter, and basically out inside games them.
He out Mexican the Mexican American.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thought maybe you can give more insight on that, other fighters that utilize that. And I also thought, like, you know, maybe fighters like Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin could have used implementing some of those tactics and some of those skills. But I'll listen to you talk and I'll get off the line. So,
thanks a lot, Sean. I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, Sean, bringing up Josh Taylor, that's a really great point. And some people will call it having the dog in you or whatever it is. It's basically doing whatever the hell you got to do to win and understanding that, yes, it's a boxing match and boxing is a martial art and there's a certain craft to it, but there's also the element of it that it's a fucking fight. And guys like Josh Taylor, guys like Tyson Fury, and there's others, but they're coming over here, they're traveling over here, and they're bringing those tactics now, and they're willing to get a little nasty. They're going to lean on you, maul, grapple. And I agree that Gennady Golovkin, definitely Sergey Kovalev, and even the Klitschko brothers, you know, I could have used a little more of that. And I think Kovalev and Gennady were kind of in between. They were that gap between the Klitschko brothers era and this new era coming up now. They were like a bridge, especially Golovkin, who really is a special fighter. Kovalev was good, but Golovkin on another level. And I say he was good as if he's retired. He's supposed to be fighting again soon. In fact, he's already started training camp. So he's preparing for his fight later this year. It should be against Murata at the very end of the year in Tokyo. But that's the thing, man. These guys now have caught up to that style, and they're going to bring that with them in the ring now. And it used to be, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, what was the stereotype about foreign quote unquote fighters here in America? That they were straight up, worked behind the jab, couldn't do anything on the inside, couldn't get nasty. Once you roughed them up a little bit, you could beat them. And we saw so many examples of this. And perhaps the Klitschkos were the last fighters that could just stand tall and just jab the shit out of you. Although I will give Vladimir credit, more so than Vitaly in this. Vladimir did start to train with Emmanuel Stewart, Crunk system. And if you look, he did the Lennox Lewis thing, where I understand it wasn't exactly what you're getting now with guys like Fury, Taylor. Yeah. But he would tap, and get in on you and get his head off the line, lean on you, his angles and spacing and footwork. And really Klitschko's rhythm was beautiful. Jonathan Banks has described it as a beautiful rhythm. It's the most beautiful rhythm he's ever seen, he said, in a heavyweight that size. So you got to give him that much credit. But yeah, dude, when you've got a guy like Fury and even a guy like Taylor too, and there's others, but that know how to do some of that stuff on the inside and get a little nasty. Well, now what you got? Because it used to be you just got nasty and rough these guys up and they'd fold a little bit. Well, that ain't happening no more. So the onus is on American trainers. The American amateur system needs to make huge updates in the way they do things. But the American gyms here and trainers need to get their fighters schooled for this, because these guys are American fighters aren't going over there, and you know that's not happening most of the time. Those guys are coming over here now, and they're not intimidated by that anymore. They're coming over here fighting the quote unquote American style and having a lot of success at it. I think we're going to see more of that. All right, back to the phones real quick. 267, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, Mike, it's Chris Otto.
Otto, what's up, my man?
Hey, what's going on? I'll make it quick. Boxing lost its momentum, in my opinion, after the free fights on ESPN stopped. You had those to look forward to, so they sort of stopped. So if you want to get boxing and the viewership and a little bit more popularity with, the quote civilians, you got to start offering free fights.
Yeah.
And when PBC has their fights, they can't wait till a week or two before the show to start actually advertising. I think more on ESPN, more on PBC. Eddie Hearn, I think, needs to figure out a way to get a deal with network TV in the United States. You can't just have everyone on the zone because not everyone has access. And how about having your young talent showcased consistently on, your ESPN or like a weekly or bi-weekly PBC show? Because Americans will tune in. Americans love to watch an athlete's career progress. So if you can have consistent fighters on a consistent basis on free television, when it comes down to the pay-per-views, I think people will be more willing. However, you do got to bring down the $80 price for the average American. Because at this point, outside of the hardcores, you're encouraging people to steal the fight and not pay for it, right?
Yeah.
And then last but not least, where does Deontay Wilder go from here? In my opinion, keep him away from Andy Ruiz, right? Everyone wants to see that fight for Deontay Wilder next. I don't. I think that's too dangerous. We don't know where he is mentally. Is he mentally broken? Is Andy Ruiz the right matchup for him? However, if they do match those two up together and a PBC fight, don't make it pay-per-view. Put it on PBC, Fox, on like a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, something like that. But spend a month or two promoting it.
Good stuff, man. I agree. I completely agree.
And that's it for me. More free boxing to get the regular person interested.
All right, man. Hey, good stuff, Chris Otto. Good stuff, man.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Have a good one. Yeah, and like for the record, that's what PBC was supposed to be, right? We were supposed to get. I thought PBC had a quick tangent, a great opportunity, but I thought where they messed up is they kind of threw spaghetti at the wall, and I thought that what they should have did when they had all those networks is they had a bunch of featherweights at the time. Have a featherweight tournament on NBC. Have a welterweight tournament on Fox. I want to say they had stuff on Spike. Remember, yeah, they had a deal on Spike. So do your junior middleweight tournament on Spike. Break it down like that to where fans could get into something. Fans, civilians, need storylines. They need something to follow, right? Remember when ESPN used to do the Boxino tournaments? Those did pretty well. And again, those aren't going to do millions and millions of views, but you can see, you can get a look at some of these guys early on. Jared Anderson fought on that bubble series multiple times last summer that Top Rank did. And yeah, the ratings weren't great. They were 200,000, 300,000. But those people who did see him, they've stuck with him. They know who he is. And now he was just featured on this big pay-per-view show. So he got more exposure and he performed great. Jared Anderson, I'm telling you, that kid's got something. Keep an eye on him. And him fighting on that bubble series was really good development for him. We don't have like that farm system right now. There are fights on FS1. There are fights on ESPN, ESPN Plus, but it's not, there's no consistent build. There's not like anything fans can expect. Friday night fights on ESPN, everyone knew Friday night, you're going to get boxing. I don't even know who the hell is fighting, but I know there's boxing Friday on ESPN. Cool. When I used to get home from work, I lived in St. Louis for a year before I moved to LA. My job moved me out there. I didn't know anybody. What got me through a lot of those first couple months, because I was lonely and sad, is because I didn't know anybody, right? Until I started meeting girls and stuff, and then I was going out. But at first, man, I would get off of work, I'd go pick up some food, I'd come home to my apartment, put on Friday night fights. And I know I wasn't the only guy in the world doing that. So that's the kind of stuff that builds, man. We need more. We need something like that, a farm system in the sport. All right, one more call, guys. 631, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, Mike, it's Keith. How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing, Keith?
Good. Real quick, I'll be fast. Feedback. I didn't get to touch base last Monday. I thought the heavyweight fight was good. A lot sloppier than it needs to be, and I think Fury made it a lot harder on himself than it needs to be. To be honest with you,
agreed.
For me, he didn't come in the best. He wasn't as fit as the fiddle as he said. He was strong as an ox, but he wasn't fit as the fiddle. He was. He just didn't have. He essentially let Wilder. I feel like he could have got Wilder out earlier. He just let him up the hook multiple times.
Yeah, he wasn't in the best shape. There were things going on.
My other point is, last week I was making points, is I was with actually one of my friends. We actually all pitched in to watch the fight. And he made a point. He basically said there really aren't that many good American, I guess more so in general, fighters, or particularly there aren't as many good American heavyweights as there was. I know that's been an issue or a question for the last couple of years, and I was just wondering to see why you think that is.
Can you say that again? You broke up a little bit for me.
Many good American heavyweights.
Oh, not as many good American heavyweights.
Yeah.
Okay.
As opposed to European or just American fighters.
Yeah, because I think it's American fighters in general. I mean, if you just look at Ring Magazine, the ratings in the 90s, and you compare them to today, Americans dominated every division's ratings just 30 years ago. And now there's only a couple divisions where more than half of the top 10 fighters are American. Most of them, it's not even half. Americans are still the most represented country. So America is still producing a lot of the best fighters in the world. But this country has 330 million people. It's a big country. We should be producing the majority of the talent in some of these divisions. As it relates to heavyweights, look, a lot of people talk about football and basketball taking the larger athletes, 200 plus pounds out of boxing. There is some truth to that. Do I think that LeBron James necessarily has what it takes to be a great heavyweight boxer? No, because he's soft. You have to have a certain amount of grit and toughness to you. LeBron James is butter. He's soft like butter, right? But there are guys in the NBA, and especially in the NFL, okay, more so the NFL. Although the NBA skill set is more applicable to boxing, the NFL mindset is more applicable to boxing. So it's kind of like this hybrid thing. But man, I don't want to be disrespectful, but if you are a pretty good athlete and you're 7 feet tall, you can play professional basketball somewhere. You don't have to be special. And you might end up going overseas or something, but you can play professional basketball somewhere. If you're a big dude and you're 250 pounds or you're pretty physical, pretty strong, you can play Division I college football somewhere. There are thousands of Division I college football players in America. You can go to college for free at a good school, Division I, if you're a pretty good athlete, not even great, not even special, pretty good and a big guy. To get to the very, very top in boxing, dude, this is a tough fucking sport. And on the way up, there's so many sacrifices and you're not getting paid well. You're not getting taken care of. If you're a pretty good basketball or football player at the age of 10, you're getting your fucking ass kissed for your entire fucking teenage years and young adult life. Everything is on the house.
Yeah.
Everyone's kissing your ass. You can get away with murder. You can literally get suspended from school. You can beat the shit out of somebody, whatever it is. You can get caught smoking a joint in the bathroom or whatever, and everything's forgiven. You can flunk out of your classes and they'll pass you, right? We've seen so many examples of this. You just don't get that treatment in boxing. So if there's a big kid out there who's a good athlete, how do you convince him to get into boxing where he could go in basketball or football and have a much easier ride? It's just, I think American athletes have gotten kind of soft, and there's people from other parts of the world. People in America think they have it bad. I thought I had it bad. I grew up in Detroit. I was born in a trailer park with teenage parents. We grew up working class. I thought I had it rough. Then I joined the Marines and traveled the world a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, these people have it fucking rough. Poor people in America are overweight and have a TV and a smartphone. They have rims on their car. You know what I'm saying? They have plumbing and electricity. There are people coming from these countries where they have none of that, dude. So I just think they have that extra element that a lot of our fighters just don't have, bro. I hate to say that, but I think it's true.
No, you make a good point. And I kind of had that revelation too when I traveled, like when I went to Colombia, for example, and you see, I have a motorcycle and I see three cops on like a 500cc motorcycle. I'm like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
we have it great over here. I also just think too, is you just have to have the itch or the knack for fighting, coupled with the fact that you're not pampered. And yeah, a lot of people are pampered. And I think that's probably the culmination and everything. And the other thing too is, I don't know, obviously Wilder criticized, accused Fury of tampering with his gloves or whatever, but then he throws Jay Diaz back into the, Jay Diaz is the one overseeing the hand wrapping as well too, unless Luke Shaw was there, I missed it, but I don't know, it's just ironic. Wilder, I mean, Broner, Gervonta Davis, Caleb Plant, even they're like the culmination of these American fighters getting fed. No one essentially getting cans, and it kind of bites them in the ass when they step to the competition.
Yeah, they have a golden path laid out for them, and these guys from other parts of the world, and it always changes, right? It was Latin America. Now you're seeing guys from Eastern and Central Europe, parts of Africa, Asia. And these guys, they can chew glass and spit it out. I mean, these dudes are coming up hard. There's no easy matchmaking for them. So when they finally step up to the top level, they're ready. And a lot of American fighters, watch what happens to Caleb Plant when he fights Canelo Alvarez. Watch what happens. Caleb Plant has had everything. We already saw pre-game. That's a good point. Yeah, man. He's had everything pretty easy. And look, he's had trials in his life. Caleb Plant's a tough guy. I'm not trying to discount that because everyone knows his story and what happened with his daughter and all that. I'm not saying it was easy. And he grew up poor, right? But he has not had the road Canelo Alvarez has had. He has not fought that level of opposition. You're just going to see what happens. So, yeah. Anyway, I got to get going, bro.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, appreciate it. Enjoy dinner and have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot,
man. One more question. Are you coming out to Orange County for the Munguia, Rosado fight or no?
I don't know yet. Possibly, but I don't know yet because California is fucking crazy. But
Orange County's not bad. LA sucks. Orange County.
Good point, brother. Good point.
All right, if you do, let's
all right, man. Have a good one. Germazian says, Mike isn't from Detroit. Oh, really? Tell me that. Where am I from? Where did I grow up? I lived in LA for 10 years before moving here, but I'm from Detroit. So I'd love to hear your explanation on this. Anyway, Kauster says, was Latin America? No, listen. What I'm saying is they used to be the new kids on the block. Oh, okay. Let me stick with one thing. So Latin America, there's still a ton of fighters coming from there, but they're no longer the new kids on the block, Kauster. That's what I was saying. It was now it's guys from Central Europe, Eastern Europe, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, I got jumbled up with these comments. Gerbazian, you're talking about me being from Mount Clemens. Yeah. I'm from Detroit, but I lived in a significant portion of my time there in Mount Clemens. Which is a small working class town on the outskirts of Detroit. So you are correct on that. But my family and I are actually from Detroit. And we have a history there. Once they came to America, they immigrated to Detroit. Anyway, guys, all right, I'm outie. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. We'll do a Monday. Peace. See you at the fights.